Well, the United States and China have given themselves more time to work out their differences over trade. That's after the Trump administration extended a pause on certain tariffs on Chinese goods for a further 90 days. The extension on Monday came just hours before a trade truce between Washington and Beijing was due to expire. China has also suspended additional tariffs on US goods for 90 days. Well, Fraser, Howie is a leading expert on China's economy and co-author of several books on the subject, including Red Capitalism, the Fragile Financial Foundations of China's Extraordinary Rise. So welcome back to DW. What should we read into this 90-day extension?
Well, it's Donald Trump's actions, so you're never quite sure what anything means. But I think, quite simply, there's no deal at the moment. You know, Trump always wants a big deal, whether it's been with the EU or whether it's been with Japan or any of the other deals he struck. There's been a sort of a headline win that he can sort of trumpet and feel that he's got something from them. Clearly, the Chinese have not given him something. But it should also be remembered, we talk about this being a truce. The tariff rates are still very high. They're no longer at the 45% tariff level they were at, but they're still at substantially elevated rates, and they are continuing to cause major trade problems for consumers in the States and for Chinese suppliers back in China.
Right. And as I understand it, though, the rates are elevated going in both directions, and China has been the country to present the most robust resistance to Donald Trump's tariffs. Just explain to us why. What do they think their leverage is?
Well, I think, ultimately they are the world's factory, that they are simply producing a lot of stuff that Americans buy. And China is the world's factory for a variety of reasons, not just because it's low prices, because they have the tremendous infrastructure and network of suppliers around any given factory. You know, there are so many, whether it's the high-tech things they're making, whether it be electronics or whether it's be the low ends. If you're making shoes, you need laces, you need plastics, you need glues, etc. All those things are there. So it can be very difficult to replicate the sort of the China model in other countries. So from that perspective, China says, we're a very important node in the global trade network, and they certainly don't want to be seen to be bullied by Trump. I think what's interesting, though, of course, is as well, Trump clearly respects Xi Jinping and respects China. Although he's going after them and has higher tariffs, it's a bit like with Russia. He clearly respects Putin when it comes to Ukraine and is prepared to sort of continually be strung along by him. In the same way, he clearly has a lot of respect still for Xi Jinping as an individual because he likes that strongman authoritarian leader.
Right.
And so he's, he doesn't want to draw a line in the sand just yet.
And is that how we can easily characterize this battle, the world's factory versus the world's biggest market?
Well, I think that's how it is. That's just the reality. Of course, that doesn't mean to say that other competitors trying to take their place. It also doesn't mean that Chinese factories aren't changing their business model. They're trying to route through third parties so the goods don't appear as if they come from China. But the Americans are obviously aware of that as well. And when they signed the deal with Vietnam, there was an explicit provision talking about this sort of transshipment of goods, clearly with China in mind, so that goods don't just come from China through Vietnam going into the States. So it is a complicated picture. But as we know, Trump tariffs are a very blunt weapon. So here you have a very complex problem being presented with a simple solution, and you ultimately know longer term it's not going to work.
Right. And the big headline grabbing details of this trade war, China relying on US high-tech AI chips, and the United States depending on China's complete domination of processing and production of rare earth minerals. Which side is more likely to break free from this dependence first?
I think, particularly on rare earths, although that's the name, they're not particularly rare. They're all over the world. And the States, the West in general, has basically stopped mining them, stopped producing them. It's a highly environmentally destructive process, and China has pushed ahead in that field. I think if Trump really wants to change the dynamic, he has to undercut some of that production, and he doesn't really seem to be doing that in any meaningful way as yet. He still thinks that everything can be done like a real estate deal, that there's a deal that's somehow going to solve these problems. But if Trump really thinks that China and America are major global competitors and real and strategic enemies, and they're in this sort of long war of competition, then he's going to need to do more than simply agree a tariff level. He has to change the very dynamics and the mechanics of global trade.
That's very clear. Thank you for talking us through that. China analyst Fraser Howie.